Hello, Facebook friends. Thank you for joining us again tonight for another Facebook Live event. We are really happy that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to join us. I think we have a really great conversation in store for you. I think it's a relevant, exciting, and sometimes a little bit sensitive topic. And we're going to be talking about our bariatric surgery and our bariatric program. I am Vicki Wingfield with Arkansas Heart Hospital, and tonight we're going to be visiting with experts from our Bariatric Metabolic Institute, which I am lovingly going to refer to for the rest of the night as the BMI program or clinic, if that's all right with y'all.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I've been impressed with this program from the beginning is the team approach that you take. I think it's super important. And one of the things I think you'll see reflected in our panel tonight is how that team approach works and how effective it makes your program. So we're going to meet 2 patients tonight, and we're super excited about that. It's an opportunity for you to actually ask those patients questions, but to hear some very dynamic stories about how their lives have changed as a result. Speaking of questions, you can ask questions through our chat. So if you are chatting with us tonight and you've got a question, something pops up in your mind, please go ahead and send that in. Also, we have a drawing tonight for a prize. So if for those that are asking questions tonight, at the end we're going to draw a name and you'll get a fun little prize. So we are looking forward to a good evening of discussion. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to introduce to you our first panel tonight. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce 2 of our surgeons. Our BMR program has 4. So the 2 physicians we get to spend some time with tonight, Dr. J.J. Tucker, here to my right. He is a bariatric general surgeon, and Dr. Sam Bledsoe over there on the end, and he is also a bariatric surgeon and general surgeon. So joining these 2 dynamos tonight is Stephanie Thrash. She is a nurse and our BMI clinic manager, and so she's going to do what she does best, which is air traffic control and keeps everybody running and moving. And so she can answer just about any question we throw her way. If the doctors mess up, we've got Stephanie.
Call Steph.
We'll call Steph. It's all good. So Stephanie's been with us for about 6 years. She's been serving in the role of our clinic manager for a little over a year. Dr. Tucker, a native Arkansan, actually grew up in Hot Springs.
Yes.
And put you on the spot. What's your favorite Hot Springs lake?
Hamilton.
Ah, it's a pretty place.
It is.
It's a pretty place. So he's been with us a couple of years now. He came to us from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where he did his fellowship in bariatrics, robotics, and minimally invasive surgery. So thank you for giving us some of your time tonight.
Thank you, Vicki.
And we have Dr. Samuel Bledsoe. He's the medical director of our BMI program, actually the founding member of this program, got us started a few years ago. He came in hot, as we like to say. He had an idea and has built an amazing program. So Dr. Bledsoe, thanks for giving us some of your time tonight.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I think you migrated to us from the Louisiana area too as well, is that right?
I'm originally from Rogers, but I was in Louisiana for 7.5 years before I came up here.
Okay. Well, we were awfully glad to have you back. So, let's see. Who am I going to throw my first question out to? Dr. Tucker? I'm gonna make it you. So Arkansas Heart Hospital, we opened our doors in March of 1997. And it was a hospital totally devoted to cardiovascular care. And we are currently, this year, just celebrating our 25th anniversary. So in that 25 years, we've made some amazing milestones. We've had some advances that are amazing in the cardiovascular arena. So that prompts me to ask you a very important question. Why in the world would a heart hospital have a weight loss program?
Vicki, I think that's a great question. I think what the heart hospital has done for the first 25 years was treat heart disease after it already existed. And I think as they got as they excelled in that area, they decided, why don't we not just treat it after it happens, but let's try to prevent heart disease in the first place. Obesity has so many risk factors. It's sort of the primary cause of multiple diseases for cardiac risk factors. Obesity is directly related to hypertension, hypercholesterolemia, hyperlipidemia, and these are all significant risk factors for heart disease. And that's really the connection, is how do we not only sort of prevent heart disease at the same time treating the obesity.
So we have a definite heart-weight connection, and we have a definite obesity as a risk factor for heart disease. So it kind of made sense to bring that in and add that to our toolbox, so to speak, of how we can not only help our patients navigate cardiovascular disease, but in a lot of cases, maybe prevent it.
That's right.
Which is where we really want to be. So, Dr. Bledsoe, I would ask you, what kind of surgeries do we offer? What is entailed in this?
Yeah. Well, we offer two of the most common procedures that are done in the world. The first one is the gastric bypass. That's been done in some way, shape, or form for decades now. And that's kind of the gold standard for which all other weight loss procedures are compared against. That's the first one that we do. The second one is a newer procedure. It's called the sleeve gastrectomy, and that's been done for the past 10 or 15 years or so. And now, though, it's the most common procedure that's done in the United States, and the most common procedure that we do here. Probably about 70 to 80% of what we do is going to be the sleeve. We also do revision surgeries, and we help out people who are having other issues and complications and stuff, but most of our work is going to be around the sleeve and the bypass.
Good. I'm going to just touch base on one thing because I don't
Sure.
want it to go missed. Revision, because I am out in the community a lot, and I do hear people that will come up to our tables and visit and talk about, I had something done many years ago. Can you guys do anything with that? So I think it's important to know that not only are we doing great work with the current gastric bypass and the sleeve, but we can help someone who's had something done years ago who finds himself in need.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, it depends on what the actual issue is, but we're happy to take a look at the patient and see what's going on and see if we can provide help for them. There's many people who have had gastric bands in the past, and those have certainly fallen out of favor. And so we do a lot of work with people with gastric bands in order to get them back on the right track. And that just may mean managing their band, or it may mean that they need to be revised to something else, a sleeve or a bypass, or maybe the band just needs to come out. There's a whole list of things that could be happening, and there's other procedures that were done historically that we can of course help out with. And again, it just depends on what their issue is, but we're happy to take a look at them and assist if we can.
Good. Thank you for that. So Stephanie, one of the things I've learned about and through our BMI program is that weight loss is not just physical.
Right.
There is a physical component, a mental health component, a support component. So many things that oftentimes we forget that are all part of this journey towards better health. So what are some of the ways that BMI program helps prepare our patients for what's coming?
Well, like no other program in the state, we're a one-stop shop. We have everything all in-house. We have the surgeons, we have dietitians, we have psychologists, we have nurse practitioners, PA, we have nurses, patient liaison. So as you mentioned before, we take a team approach to prepare our patients for this life change. So not a physical life change, but mental life change, and like you mentioned, are also the toolbox. This is just a tool to help you be more healthy. So all heart related.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. I think we're off to a really good start tonight. We're going to take a quick little break. And so I want to make sure that you grabbed your notepad and your pen, because you're going to get some great information tonight. Don't miss out this chance to jot down a couple of nuggets, notes, maybe some questions you want to ask, or something that you might want to get from us later on. When we get back, we're going to visit with Dr. Tucker and his patient Sammy. You're going to love Sammy. You don't want to miss him, so go grab your pencil and paper and come right back.
Actually, I enjoyed eating and drinking wine and having a great time at 200 plus pounds, and I needed a hip replacement, and the doctors were afraid to do it. And I went to Dr. Bledsoe, and here I am today, many pounds lighter, enjoying life, have my life back. My practitioner told me that I had bought at least 10 more years, so I'm very happy. Dr. Bledsoe is very easy to talk to. He explained everything thoroughly to me. Oh my goodness, I have so much more energy. And I've had joint replacements and had a lot of pain associated with that just losing the weight has helped me tremendously. It's helped me at least be able to go and exercise now. A lot of people who are thinking about doing this procedure will ask me, or say, I don't really want to give up my life. I love eating, I love cooking. And I say, well, I can enjoy the same steak you do. I just eat so much less now, and I'm just as satisfied. The BMI team, all of them are great to work with. Yeah, from the nutritionist, Courtney, that I met with, the ladies who work there in the office, everyone was just so helpful and helped me feel comfortable about the journey I was about to venture out on.
Welcome back. If you're just now joining us, let me remind you that I am Vicki Wingfield with Arkansas Heart Hospital, and with me is Dr. Tucker, his patient Sammy, and Andrea Lee, who is our BMI patient liaison. So we're going to continue the discussion that we have already started, and I am going to just jump right to it, Sammy, because I am so excited for this audience to hear your story.
Thank you.
Sammy and I got to visit a little before, and it's quite extraordinary where you've come from, what you sit at now, and so I want you to just go ahead and just share with us your story.
Well, in 2020 is when I found out I had gotten so sick. I probably weighed right at 400 pounds.
Okay.
And several doctors in Pine Bluff had encouraged me to have this surgery done or talk to the doctors at the bariatric clinic. So I think I ended up going on the website, watching their videos, answering their questions, and that's how we got started. But I'm going to say up front, Dr. Tucker, Miss Jenny, and his staff, they had to be patient advocates just for me to get this done, and they jumped through hoops. And I have a lot of respect for those guys. But mine was either lose weight or die. That's just pretty much how it was put to me.
So you started out at your top weight of about 400 pounds?
Well, I think when I met with Dr. Tucker, I was at 383, something like that.
Take your word for it.
And I've got a pretty good diary I keep.
Okay.
But I was at 383 pounds. I was in a size 50 pants. And, of course, I threw those pants away. I wanted to take a picture here the other day to send the lady but I threw them away, but I'm in the 36 now. I've came from 383. When I was in the hospital, I'm down to 189.
Now we
And
know.
I went from not being able to walk across the floor on 4 liters of oxygen, couldn't get outside, couldn't function with my grandkids, to now I ride a bike 6 miles a day. My daughter rodeos, and I get involved with my kids. You know, I have a life again.
So when I ask you what motivated that weight loss surgery, it was that ability to get back into life.
It was ability to live again and function in life, because I wasn't functioning, I was surviving, and there's a big difference. But when I had this surgery done, I never made it about losing weight.
Right.
I made it about being healthy and living a quality life. Because you can live and you don't have a quality life. You can survive, but it's not quality life. When I say quality life, that means getting out, enjoying your family, doing things, working, having a job.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of activities are you doing now that you were not doing when you got here?
Before I came, my activity was walking from the couch, the living room, to the bathroom, to the front porch. That's about as far as I could walk. And now we ride a bike anywhere from 4 to 6 miles a day. We kayak, we rodeo, we live life. We travel. We couldn't get very far from the house. Mm-hmm. But we have as normal a life as you can have now.
That's great.
So Dr. Tucker, when patients meet with you and you assess them and have that discussion about is this the right option for you, and you ask that patient, what do you want to be able to achieve? How do you help your patients set the right goals? And it's not always just about weight.
It's not, and I probably, I'm sure Sammy may remember, I talk to patients, we talk a little bit about weight loss, very little in the first visit. I kind of give a general, this may be about how much weight we lose, but what we really focus on at that visit is what is it that this is going to, explaining to them the depth that this is going to do for them. How this is going to get them off their medications, how they won't have to deal with the side effects of the medications that they're currently for the diseases they're currently being treated for. He talked a lot about it. The one thing that you can't quantify is the improvement in the quality of their life, right?
That's exactly right.
And, we can quote, hey, we can cure this disease and this disease, but we can't, quality of life is such a subjective conversation, and we spend a lot of time talking about that. We do kind of set some degree of personal goal and expectation with weight loss and the journey and in that aspect, but we really care a lot about disease cure, medication, to get off medications, to get patients off CPAP machines, to decrease their sort of pharmacy burden, as I like to call it, because these patients do not want to be tied down to, to taking pills 3 and 4 times a day, constantly running to doctor visits once a month. They just like to have a little bit more freedom. And I think that part is really important. So we talk a lot about, I use the term healthy weight, okay? This operation is going to get you to a healthy weight. And when we get to that healthy weight, how do we maintain it? How do we use the team here at the Heart Hospital to help you maintain that lifestyle of a healthy weight? And and then I'll let them define that in the same visit. What is a healthy weight to you? Is it going to be being off all of your medications, being off your CPAP, no longer having to, do this visit, no longer having to have this knee surgery, and those sorts of things. And then we kind of define that and say, well, once we get there, let's focus on that, okay? And if that's 100 pounds, great. If it's 150 pounds, even better. But hey, let's just be healthy first, and then we'll worry about the weight.
Miss Vicki said something earlier about a support group. I can tell you now, if you have a great support group, it means a whole lot. My wife was probably my most critic that I could have, but yet she was probably the best coach that I could have. And she wanted to be here tonight, but she had to work. But I will have to say, not one time have I ever regretted having this surgery done. And I set personal goals for myself now, and I find myself talking to people about setting personal goals. And my wife told me, and I made this post on the bariatric page, don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. If it's just lifting your arms and your legs, it's a start somewhere. Not every patient has the same outcome. But I started focusing on what I could do, the exercises I could do, and then here I am today. I'm doing tremendously better than I was at 30, more than likely, if truth was known.
So what's the time span on between when you began to today? How long has this journey been
When
so
I
far?
started trying to have my weight loss surgery, it was in January of 2021. Let me think. 2021.
Okay.
But I ended up having it July the 30th of 2022.
Okay.
So it's just a little over a year and a month out that I went from carrying an oxygen cylinder on my side with 4 liters of oxygen to doing what I want to in life and getting away from the porch and getting away from the couch and getting outside, living, mowing my own yard. So just a little over a month, year and a month away, 13 months. And it was a struggle. It's not easy at times, but it's worth the battle.
It's good. What's the favorite thing that you do today that you weren't able to do before surgery?
Riding my bike and enjoying my family.
That's great. That's great. Well, don't you love a great story? Boy, I do. Sammy, thanks. We appreciate that.
Thank you guys for having me.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back, and I'm going to have some questions for Andrea. I've not left you out of the equation. And Dr. Tucker, I've got a few more things we want to visit with you about. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Why treat disease when you can reverse it? Improve or resolve obesity-related conditions with surgical weight loss and support programs. Introducing the Bariatric and Metabolic Institute only at Arkansas Heart Hospital. To improve these numbers, we start with these numbers. Regain your health with surgical weight loss and support programs. Introducing the Bariatric and Metabolic Institute only at Arkansas Heart Hospital.
What is the Bariatric and Metabolic Institute?
It's the only place like it in the region.
Where our comprehensive team comes together to provide weight loss surgery and support.
BMI is home to surgeons, dietitians, psychologists, and more.
All backed by the strength of Arkansas Heart Hospital.
So patients can lose weight.
Have healthier hearts
And better lives.
Encore is our second act. Let's get started on yours.
There's a term that I've learned through the BMI program is called non-scale victories. And I think that's a great phrase, and I really, really like it. So I want to talk just a little bit about a couple of those non-scale victories. Sam, I'm going to come back to you, Sammy, real quickly. And what do you think is, give me one or two of your non-scale victories so far.
Well, my clothes. You know how hard it is to buy clothes for a 400-pound man. Mm-hmm. You can't. I mean, you're pretty much in sweatpants and T-shirts. And now I can dress up. look presentable and not to be an embarrassment to my kids. I felt like I got to the point I felt like I was an embarrassment. That right there is a big victory for me myself.
That's great.
Is to be able to fit my clothes
That's great.
and buy clothes.
That's great. You know, Sammy's looking pretty sharp when he arrived tonight, although we did have to help him with his collar. He was just a little
And I got
disheveled.
my top button.
Top button, because the wife said make sure that top button's at there. She wants you looking sharp, so that's good. So, Dr. Tucker, how important is physical activity during this whole weight loss journey?
I think it's incredibly important, and I'll go back and kind of how I talk to the patients about the philosophy of, I don't want to call it exercise. I say we got to find an activity, okay? I don't want to scare people off with the term exercise in the office visit and say, oh, you got to exercise. I say, listen, we're going to learn to do activities as we can tolerate. You're going to be able to tolerate more and more activities as you lose weight, okay? You know, those activities can be very simple. You know, something as easy as taking your dog for a 2-mile walk every day, picking up a new sport. You know, I tell people, you know, pickleball's all the craze. Or, you know, it's not always about, oh man, you got to go to the gym and get a gym membership and do this. But, you know, you can go take your kids to hike Pinnacle Mountain. You know, this is the natural state. Like Sammy said, you can kayak, you can ride bikes, and you can vary these things. So, you know, because I want people to sort of have more enjoyment out of having a more active lifestyle. And then, you know, hey, tell me what it is that you like to do. Like when you were a teenager, when you were in high school, you know, besides playing sports and things, what other activities brought you a lot of joy that you think you could do consistently? And let's focus on that as our version of exercise. Because I just think that, you know, for some people, that's not always, it's a little, their experience with the gym and their weight loss journey to this point has been a little bit negative.
Right.
And so I try not to say, you know, at the very beginning, like, let's not focus on that, because for most people, it has some sort of historical negativity, like they just never got the result they wanted, or maybe they didn't have a good experience at the gym, you know, being overweight and some different things. So I think that part's really important. You know, having that daily activity your daily activity, you know, it makes a huge difference when you approach it.
I really like framing that in the term of activity, because we've all got opportunity to move. And it's whichever movement's going to really benefit you the most and something that you can enjoy doing. Andrea. So Andrea has a really important role in the BMI program, and she is the person that you're going to talk to get started. She's going to help you navigate that system. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that it's hard, and sometimes it's just over. It's like drinking from a fire hose when you start this process of who do I call, what do I do? So, Andrea, we've heard from a lot of people who say that their insurance has denied something in the past, or simply just don't even know where to start. So would you talk us through how we handle that in the BMI program?
Sure. So when it comes to insurance, bariatrics, it's just in its own realm of worlds.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a whole different ballgame. Right. So it's not necessarily like a cardiac procedure where your insurance is going to approve it. It's just a matter of going through the steps. Right. Bariatrics, each insurance policy, they will have their own list of criteria that they're going to require. So you really kind of have to comb through that policy, know what you need. So not only do you have the insurance requirements, but the patient also has the surgeon requirements. So there's lots of stuff that goes into it, and it can be super overwhelming for our patients. They come in, and a lot of times we're kind of throwing a lot of information at them. So my role is to just kind of be that person that basically holds your hand and walks you through the process, kind of tells you what you need, helps you get to the people that you need to get with. I'm kind of like the link between the patient and the surgeon, or the patient and outside specialist that they may need to get in touch with, the patient and their insurance company, that kind of thing. So it's nice that what I think is special about our clinic is that we offer that, that we can facilitate that for the patient, because it's a lot of work, and it is hard for a lot of patients sometimes to kind of even know what questions to ask when they call for something. So it's kind of nice to have that link, to be able to help them.
it sounds like you have to keep a lot of plates in the air just because from differences from one insurance coverage to another. This one may cover this one and this one may not. So that's a lot to juggle. So you can't imagine just a patient trying to figure out what to do. Which ball goes up first, then something's going to come down and get missed. So it sounds to me there was a long ago, there was a commercial, a TV commercial. I think it was for Staples, and they talked about having the easy button, and you just push the easy button. Well, I think Andrea is serving that purpose in the BMI program. She's our BMI easy button to make it easy for you to get involved, figure out what we need to do. So I know that we have, sometimes our insurance doesn't always cover the surgeries and or out-of-pocket expenses. How do we help our patients work through that?
Right. So there are a lot of policies that do not cover, unfortunately, and even there are some policies that even though they have coverage, it still leaves a patient with some out-of-pocket expenses. I like to liken it to purchasing a car. You would invest in a car. Why would you not invest in your own health? So if you think of it that way, that does kind of put it into perspective, because it can get costly, but it is a great investment in your own health, and it will prevent a lot of issues down the road. So we do offer some financing options that you can check into. We'll be happy to help somebody with, whenever we get our patients' benefits together, we do give them an estimated out-of-pocket cost of what it's going to cost for them. That way you kind of know what you're looking at from the beginning. So.
And I'm sure that's appreciated and helpful as they begin to work through that process. And it's a good peace of mind to know, to have all the information and all the pieces, because Sammy, it's a lot to consider, it's a lot to take on, and so the more information you can have, I think the better decision, and then it's certainly going to help your overall experience.
When you first start, you're thinking, I know I did, when I first started, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this. But I have to say, they held my hand every step of the way, and it's just the first step of getting over the fear of it, the unknown. But I'll say again, the battle is well worth the reward.
Oh, good. Well, you are certainly living proof of someone who's made some great changes, and a lot more years left in you, sir.
I would hope so.
A lot more quality of life. So
I've got a lot of catching up to do.
A lot of catching up to do. Well, all I can say is wow. Sammy, thank you for sharing your story. I feel certain you've encouraged someone tonight to step out and own their health. And you told me before we started that was something that you hoped would be achieved by you telling your story. Dr. Tucker, you are a wealth of knowledge, and it's obvious that you value your patients and want the very best outcomes. I see that in the way you talk to your patients and care for your patients.
Thank you.
And Andrea, thank you for making sure that our patients can get what they need to get involved in the program. It takes all of us to make this work and for it to be a great experience, and there's so much to navigate. So thank you for taking time to be with us tonight, and thanks for taking good care of our patients. I know it's important. So we're going to take another quick little break. So I want you to go sharpen your pencil, grab some more paper, because I hope you're taking mad notes. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. And I'm excited to get to introduce you to another patient. And then we're going to have one of our registered dietitians talk to us, and we're going to get to ask her a bunch of great questions. So y'all go grab some water and tea or something and come on back.
Well, I just had our youngest son, and I didn't bounce back like I did with our older ones. I was struggling really hard with being able to have the energy to keep up with my children and be able to be a great mom to them and interact with them. From the moment that I walked in, they made me feel as if this was something that I could do. I could actually have a lifestyle change. I could actually be healthy and live the life that I wanted to live, and not just something that is always going to be in the back of my mind that I wanted. And so I met with Dr. Fuller, and immediately it felt like it wasn't just a patient-doctor situation. It was more like a cheerleader. He wanted me to be healthy. And that right then and there made me believe in myself that this just isn't just another appointment. This is going to change the rest of my life. I love the fact that he is doing this with me because I have a partner that I can look over and he knows exactly how I feel on days.
It just changed my whole life. From the reception, from the nurse, from everybody. Every time I come in, they always happy to see me.
We love Courtney. The way that she breaks down nutrition and teaches us gave us a total different knowledge of how we could eat. And I love the fact that she is a lifelong asset. It's not just after we had the surgery, then she disappeared. She'll be there coaching us for the rest of our life. Once we checked out from surgery, they were committed to us just like we're committed to them in this journey.
Great. So we're back. I hope everybody took a little break and got a little something to drink, and you're ready to go again. I've got Dr. Bledsoe back with me. Thank you. I want to introduce you to Tamika. Tamika is one of our BMI patients, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
She was being just a little bit nervous, and I told her, don't anybody tell her you're watching. She said, as long as we're not face to face, so you don't see her, okay? She doesn't see you. You just relax. You got this.
Got it.
And then we've got Courtney Sutterfield, who's one of our registered dietitians, and we're going to let her talk to us a lot about some of the questions we have about food tonight. But Tamika, just like I did with Sammy, I'm going to start with you because your story is what's important. You are why we're here tonight. We want to thank you for being here. So let's just go ahead and start.
Okay. Again, I'm Tamika. I'm 45 years old. My weight loss journey started years ago. I can remember my first diet was when I was in the 6th grade.
Oh my.
And so through the years, I've always dieted. For the longest diet probably only lasted 6 months. Since I failed sometimes, most of the time I failed, and some of the times, few times I was successful. So in making this decision, a family member in Florida told me about weight loss surgery, and I was like, nah, it's cheating. I thought it was kind of cheating, but she kept talking to me, and I started doing research. So around 2020, I started doing research on weight loss surgery because I knew I was overweight. Mm-hmm. I knew all the risk factors that came with being overweight. And in researching, I found that I wasn't cheating. It was actually a tool. And so, I had the surgery August of 2021, but I had the surgery because I knew all the risk factors. I'm a mother. Mm-hmm. I'm a wife. And I was looking at, I want to be here for my daughter. I want to see my grandkids and my great-grandkids. Yeah. So I just took those steps to be healthy. I wanted a better quality of life. My job can be sometimes physical. I'm a postmaster, and sometimes I have to go out and I have to walk behind my carriers. Mm-hmm. A lot of times I couldn't because my back was hurting. Yeah. Doing house chores. When I get to the kitchen table, I would sit down and sweep around the table because my back would start hurting. So I made this decision for a better quality of life, to be around and enjoy my family, just like Sammy said, to enjoy your family and just to enjoy your life, because you don't realize how much your weight holds you down until it's actually gone.
So I think I heard that you'd been on several medications. How's this impacted the medications that you've taken?
I was on high blood pressure. I was on 4 high blood pressure medicines. Wow. I'm down to 2. I experienced a lot of swelling, like even taking the blood pressure. I was taking a diuretic that really didn't keep the swelling down. Every day I come home, my ankles were swollen. So after the surgery, I don't have the problem with the swelling, but I still take 2 blood pressure pills, but I'm trying.
Okay.
We're going to get that. We're going to get rid of those 2 pills too. But yeah, I had high cholesterol. I don't take high cholesterol anymore, so I'm doing great. It's really helped.
That's good. So, what would you say would be a couple of your non-scale victories?
Oh, God. Being able, as a woman, being able to cross your legs. I have my niece 70% of the time. I'm on the floor with her. She's 3. I'm on the floor with her, going into Walmart, not taking the buggy from my daughter because I was scared my back was going to start hurting. So she can push the buggy and I can put stuff in the buggy instead of vice versa. She was putting stuff in the buggy she wasn't supposed to. So I can put the stuff in the buggy and she can push. So yeah, and clothes. I'm not limited to certain stores now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying it.
That's good.
I'm enjoying it.
So, Dr. Bledsoe, we talked a little bit about her reduction in medication. Is this a common thing we see, changing of medications, dosages, or coming off completely?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's a very, very common thing for us to have happen. One of my favorite patients to be operating on is the diabetic. They'll come in and they may be on 2, 3, 4 different medications. They may be on 100 or 200 units of insulin a day. They may be on an insulin pump. With these surgeries, we can actually improve that situation significantly. They can come off some or all of those medications. And in fact, that improvement in diabetes can happen at the time of surgery. So they go into the operating room a diabetic and they leave the operating room not a diabetic. And you'll see people get off 200 units of insulin. You'll see people get off of their insulin pumps. About 83% of the time we can actually cure diabetes with a gastric bypass, and about 66% of the time we can cure diabetes with a sleeve. And so that's a very, very common thing that we see. But it's not just limited to the diabetic. We'll get people off their high blood pressure medications, just like Tamika, their high cholesterol medications, even some of the medications you may not necessarily be thinking of. Sometimes anxiety medications or depression medications or medications for joint pain or something like that. Another one that I like to see is people coming off of their CPAPs for their sleep apnea. Not a medication, but certainly that's an obesity-related disease that they're having to address, and it's very, very common for people to get off of their CPAPs after these surgeries.
That's great. On the diabetes, to clarify, that's for our type 2 diabetic friends, correct?
It is.
Does it impact our type 1s
well,
as well?
It actually does impact type 1, but to a much lesser extent.
Okay.
When you're morbidly obese and you're type 1, there's usually a type 2 component to
Okay.
it. And so they will not get off the insulin, but you may be on, just making an example, 200 units of insulin as a type 1 diabetic. You have a gastric bypass, you may be on 50 units
Okay.
after that.
Okay.
And so it'll certainly improve their situation as well.
Still a vast improvement,
Right.
for sure. So, Tamika, we know that with anything we do, we're going to hit plateaus and places where you kind of stall out. Did you have a stall?
Actually, I don't know. And that's because I stayed away from the scale. I only weighed when I went to the doctor.
Okay.
To my doctor's appointments. And that's because I know my mental aspect of things. I know it would, if I was to get on the scale and it hadn't moved, it probably would cause, I probably would go and grab a potato chip or something, So I stayed away from the scale. So every time I got on the scale, I had lost. Okay. So I didn't weigh every day. I see people in the Facebook group, why? I'm not losing. I weighed yesterday and I'm still the same. Don't do it.
So that's a good little piece of advice from Tamika. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Just weigh once a month or whatever. But I didn't really experience. If I did, I wasn't aware of it.
Well, that's good. That's good. We're going to take another quick break. We're going to come back. I've got another question or two for Tamika, and then I've really got some stuff for you, Courtney. Okay. So you get ready. So we'll be right back.
Why treat disease when you can reverse it? Improve or resolve obesity-related conditions with surgical weight loss and support programs. Introducing the Bariatric and Metabolic Institute only at Arkansas Heart Hospital. To improve these numbers, we start with these numbers. Regain your health with surgical weight loss and support programs. Introducing the Bariatric and Metabolic Institute only at Arkansas Heart Hospital.
What is the Bariatric and Metabolic Institute?
It's the only place like it in the region.
Where our comprehensive team comes together to provide weight loss surgery and support.
BMI is home to surgeons, dietitians, psychologists, and more.
All backed by the strength of Arkansas Heart Hospital.
So patients can lose weight,
have healthier hearts,
and better lives.
Encore is our second act. Let's get started on.
Right, we're back, and I said we were going to talk to Courtney, and we are. Courtney, one of the things that we see a lot, or a lot of questions that we'll get out in the community, food seems to be a big deal when we start talking about bariatric surgery and bariatric weight loss. So help us understand, what do you think the patient's most surprised to learn about a bariatric eating plan?
That it can taste good. I think that is one of the top things when I visit with patients and we go through the different recipes that we've developed, and when we share, you know, this is how I eat, this is how my family eats, this is real food. Dr. Fuller has a saying that we love, and it's good food that's good for you. But if it doesn't taste good, what's the point? You still want to eat food that tastes good. And I think that is, you know, food is medicine, but we want our medicine to taste good.
We do. We do. I think we have a before and after photo of Tamika. Okay. So y'all take a look at this. Tamika.
Look at that.
Girl, you're doing great.
Thank you.
You are doing great.
Thank you. Wow.
That's great. So Tamika, I would ask you, what's a piece of advice would you give somebody considering this surgery?
You know, I was actually talking to someone today that called me that was told that I had surgery. And like I told her, if you want a better quality of life and enjoy life, and do it. You know, I thought about it for a whole year before I actually made the decision, and I wish I would have did it a year prior. But it was the best decision that I ever made. Like, and Courtney said something about, I never thought I would eat cauliflower rice. You know,
it tastes good, doesn't it?
Tastes good. You know, the food, you can make the food taste good. You know, me and my family, I've changed up their eating too. You know, we're trying different things, but my biggest thing, I never thought I would eat cauliflower. So I love it. So the information that's given, follow it. That book, they call it the Bible, the Bariatric Bible, follow it. Yeah, but if you're considering, it's the best decision. And I know you probably hear all bariatric patients say this is the best decision they ever made, but it's so true. Listen to us. We know what we're talking about.
So Courtney, do they have to make any changes to their eating habits prior to surgery? We know there are changes that come after. What comes before?
Well, we always encourage patients to make changes prior to surgery. You know, life-changing surgery requires changing life habits. If we want to be successful long-term, we want to make sure and, you know, equip our patients with the best tools to help them be successful. So, you know, when we sit down with our patients, we go through, you know, what they eat, what they like, what they don't like, but we are a low-carb eating plan. And I think a lot of times, you know, forgetting that food is medicine, well, there are certain, you know, certain foods used to treat certain diseases. Carbs for our patients, because obesity is a metabolic disease. Carbs just, I wish they were our friend because I sure love them myself, but we focus on, I call it bariatric Mediterranean to me because like I've heard this before, you know, equal parts lean proteins, non-starchy veggies, but make your food taste good. There's so much more out there. I've done bariatrics almost 19 years, and the things that are out there now for our patients with low carb sauces and, you know, just eating real food. That's the main thing. Eat real food. We've gotten so used to processed foods and just grabbing stuff and throwing it, you know, in the microwave. You can still have a great meal, and I think you would agree. Meal prep does not have to be time consuming or labor intensive. You can get good food on the table in minimal time. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree.
So I think you have some visual aids with you
Always.
as we talk about. She's a true teacher, she really wants us to get it.
I watch her live.
But, I think a visual is really important because remember before surgery when we're like, okay, so on stage 3, which is the first stage after liquids, you're going to eat 2 to 4 tablespoons per meal. And it's like, okay, I know my stomach's going to be smaller, but how's that going to work? So I have my expo marker that I refer to as baby sleeve. And then with a gastric bypass, this is about how big your stomach is right after surgery. And this is also good for family to see because you'll have, family members saying, you're not eating enough. But if you pull up an egg or an expo marker at the dinner table and go, this is why I eat the amount I eat, it really helps them too. And then when you put like 4 tablespoons of food next to baby sleeve or baby bypass, it's just a really great visual and helps patients see how this tool is going to make such a big difference in their lives.
I think visuals are always important to help us understand. If we just get it, if we just get it, if we could see it, works so much better. So Dr. Bledsoe, when people think of surgery, many expect downtimes of weeks or even months. What's the recovery time like? And I know it's going to vary patient to patient, but on an average, what's our recovery times like?
No, that's a good question. On average, they're overnight in the hospital, and the next day, and really the day of surgery, you're up and walking. And for most surgeries, you're drinking the same day. And then you go home and you have activity restrictions where we don't want you lifting anything heavy, so nothing over 10 pounds for a couple of weeks, nothing over 30 pounds for weeks 3 and 4. After that, you can do pretty much whatever you want. The only other restrictions would be the dietary restrictions that Courtney goes over with them in depth. So it's you really get back on your feet very, very rapidly.
That's good. I think one of the things that, before we head into our final segment tonight, this is a lifestyle change, and it's a lifestyle commitment. And so while we get past those markers and those milestones, there's still work to be done. And the beauty part about our bariatric program is we're going to give you that support for as long as you need it. Tell us about that, Courtney.
We have a lot of great tools for our patients. One that Shanna, our other dietitian, we're really proud of is our Facebook support group page. It is strictly for BMI patients, so you can be comforted in knowing that everybody on that page is in our program. Everybody is on the same page. You've got recipes. We have a Facebook Live support group that we do the first and third Tuesday of every month. We talk about a different topic. We sometimes have cooking demonstrations, and we will review foods. If someone's like, is this okay? Before we say, yeah, it's great, we try it. We make the team try it. We want everybody to like it because it's not just a lifestyle change for the patient, but it's also a lifestyle change for the family. And if it's something that the entire family can do together and everybody can like it, it just makes it a lot easier on the patient too. So, and then when I say lifelong, I say forever and ever, amen. You're stuck with us. I think I told you that. She's like,
yes,
okay.
You've heard that.
Yes, and they go grocery shopping and tell you what you can have, and so the Facebook group is wonderful. I'm on it every day. I like reading everybody's stories and getting everyone's tips. So it's a good tool to use. We really have a lot of support with the BMI team.
Good. Such good information tonight. Tamika, you're an inspiration.
Yes, Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story with our Facebook friends tonight. I know you've made a difference for someone who's been trying to make a decision. So thank you for stepping out there on that limb with us and stepping up here.
Thanks for
you.
having me.
We're so happy for you. You keep up the good work. Cauliflower rice and all.
Try it. Try it.
Dr. Bledsoe, you are you're such an amazing piece of this program.
Thank you.
And thank you for all you do for our patients and our staff. Our staff, it's not just about our patients. You do so much for our staff, so I wanted to thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And Courtney, thanks for helping us understand that we really have no excuse because we can still eat good food.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
Yes.
And that's good to know because I think there's just that misconception of, I'll never be able to do this again or that again. And the reality is you can. We just have to make those right choices. And I think that there are things that could be applied across all of us no matter what phase we're in, what diet we're on, or what we're trying to do. I think that's just good, moderate advice that we could use in any area of our lives. So thank you, Courtney. We appreciate
welcome.
that.
Thanks for having me.
So see what I mean? A team approach. You've seen it, bear it out here tonight. A lot of information out there. If you keep breaking your pencil lead or you've run out of paper, don't worry about it. You can go online to the BMI seminar. I think it's at bmiarheart.com. It's an in-depth seminar. You get a lot more information, so we will do that. We're going to take one final break, and then we're going to come back and put a bow on the evening. So we will be back in just a jiffy.
So I'm Taylor. I had bariatric surgery. I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and I have lost 225 pounds. Before, in high school, I was really involved in softball, and then all of a sudden I just started gaining a ton of weight and had to stop because I was having really bad heart problems. It was my junior year or sophomore year of college when I decided to have surgery. And ever since then, it's been a life changer. I have so much more energy. I can go out on hikes or walks and not worry about, am I going to get tired? Am I going to be able to make it through? So it's been incredible. I've struggled with overweight, like being overweight my whole life. Being able to do it at such a young age gave me the confidence and the courage that I needed to succeed in life. Dr. Bledsoe is an amazing doctor. He never made me feel judged or uncomfortable. He wanted to make sure that I wanted this in every way possible and that I was doing the right thing for me because I was so young. The BMI team is absolutely amazing. They are always there. When you walk into the clinic, it feels like family. It feels like home. Everyone is so encouraging and so motivating, and it's unlike any other doctor's office I've ever been to.
Welcome back for our final segment tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Back at our table, we've got Dr. J.J. Tucker, we have Stephanie Thrash, and Dr. Samuel Bledsoe. They're going to help us wrap it up tonight. We have had a lot of information. They've answered a lot of questions. So hopefully, if you didn't get your question answered, there's still time to stick it over in the chat for us, or you can reach out. We will make sure we can answer your questions. I'm going to ask right now, I would ask Dr. Bledsoe, do we need a referral from our primary care physician?
Not necessarily. Your insurance may require a referral, and if they do, certainly we need one. It would be nice to have a referral regardless, just because we do want to partner with your primary care physician to try to make this as successful for you over the long term as we possibly can. But it's certainly not a requirement if your insurance doesn't require it. But we would want to include all your other providers in there, whether they be your primary care doctor, your cardiologist, your pulmonologist, or anybody else that helps take care of your health.
Dr. Tucker, when you get to follow your patients through and you see them come back in and you see they're being so successful, what do you think, what are your favorite non-scale victories that you see in your patients?
I think just to hear their stories about something very exciting to them. I think about all the time I have a patient come back and maybe it's getting to travel to go see their grandchildren. They can get on an airplane and they don't have to ask for a seatbelt extender. They can go to the amusement park and they can get in the roller coaster and the bar closes. Got one patient who is so excited she bought shoes with laces. She's at a point where she couldn't tie her own shoes and she only wore sandals and slip-ons. And those things, although they sound trivial to some people, I don't. To have those things taken away from you is just. It really gets these, it really gets the patients, and so, when they have those sort of liberties back, it just opens the door for them to be able to conquer any and all the things in front of them. And like I said, that has nothing to do with disease most of the time, but they always want to come tell you. They're so excited to tell you a story, something they did, and and I think those things are great to hear, and it's more about the excitement on their face.
That's my favorite part.
I've
seen them come
Agreed.
out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Stephanie, what do you think sets the RBMI program apart from other weight loss programs?
Just the team approach, we have everybody on staff, the lifelong relationship. Those alone set us apart from other programs, I think.
So if someone was watching tonight and they've said, okay, I've been looking at this for a while, thinking for a while, I've done my research, I'm ready to take the next step, what is it?
Next step is go to our website at bmi.arheart.com and no, not an @ BMI period, AR heart period. Then put your information in. Our insurance department will verify insurance if you have benefits. If not, regardless, you're going to get a call. That's another thing that we do is all the legwork to see if you have coverage. So that is the next point from here is get on the website, put your information in, watch the seminar, and we'll contact you and we'll do the rest.
Great. I have one more clinical question that's come up. Dr. Tucker or Dr. Bledsoe, either one. There was a question about how does having the surgery speed up your metabolism?
Well, I think that's a great question. The metabolism is sort of controlled by what I call the gut hormones. And we don't talk a lot about this, but even the newer medications, I say we now have the first generation of medications that are sort of non-amphetamine based, okay? So, I think patients have been inundated with the commercials for like Ozempic and Wegovy and Mounjaro. And these are all medications that are hormone analogs that are secreted by the GI tract. And so really what we see in the metabolism is not so much it's the alteration of the anatomy as it is the alteration of how the GI tract responds and produces hormones to control metabolism. And we do see a dramatic increase in metabolism in terms of the long-term weight maintenance for these patients.
Good. Real quickly, the winner of our giveaway tonight is Melody Rochelle. So Miss Melody, we'll be getting in touch with you about that. One last thing that I would like to give each of you about 30 seconds to say what's one thing you want someone to walk away tonight having heard. Start with you, Dr. Bledsoe.
If I was going to give somebody one piece of advice, I would say that if you qualify for bariatric surgery, then you owe it to yourself to at least explore that as a possibility. I would go further and say that if you are diabetic, then you really, really owe it to yourself to explore this as a possibility. Even the American Diabetes Association says that if your BMI is over 40 and you're diabetic, just go straight to surgery. That's in their standards of care, and it's been in the standards of care for the past 5, 6, 7 years. And so even the other the rest of the medical community has identified the great benefit that can be had from weight loss surgery. A non-diabetic can add about 5 years onto their life. A diabetic, we can add almost 10 years onto their life, according to studies. And so if your weight is a struggle, if your medical issues are a struggle, if you are struggling with the aspects of being obese or any of the medical complications associated with it, you really do owe it to yourself to explore this as a possibility, and we would love to be there on your journey.
Stephanie?
Yeah. I would say that if anything you could take away tonight would be, there's a lot to say. Basically, it's not an easy fix. It is a lifestyle change. It's long term, but we're here to support you. We want to help you. We enjoy what we do, everybody on the team, and we're always there the whole step of the way.
That's great. Dr. Tucker?
Yeah. The other thing I think we sort of leave out some time, I say, expanding on Dr. Bledsoe, is not only do you owe it to yourself, but don't let age ever be a factor. I tell people, I think
never too late.
You're never too late and you're never too early. We sort of see, I know the other day I did a patient that was 78 years old. I know Dr. Bledsoe's done patients in their mid-70s, and I tell patients all the time, it's never too late to get healthy, right? You owe it to yourself. And if you're at a point in your life where your obesity is really interfering with where you want to get or what you want to do, just come see us. Let us have a conversation. Let us answer your questions, and get an idea of what's really going on. Get to know Courtney and Shannon, our dietitians, the rest of the team, just because we have something in place that is geared to help you to achieve some lifelong maintenance and some lifelong health.
But not an easy button.
Not an easy
Not
fix.
an easy button.
Not an easy button. To get to the program and us to get you the help you need is an easy button. But we are talking about significant commitment. We're talking about owning your own health. We're talking about you taking charge and making some decisions and some choices that can get you there. What I heard tonight is not just about weight, it's about health. It's about giving you back a quality of life. And so thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate the time that you gave us. If we didn't get to all of your questions, we will be in touch with that. Watch that BMI seminar. That will help with that. Please continue to join us for our Heart to Heart Facebook Live events. You can simply follow Arkansas Heart Hospital on Facebook, and that will get you notice of our next event coming up. We hope to continue to bring you relevant, exciting topics that will be helpful as you take charge of your health and take necessary steps to stay heart healthy. Thank you, Dr. Bledsoe. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Dr. Tucker. Thank you, Courtney and Andrea, and our great patients, Sammy and Tamika. What a great night we've had. So until the next time, you take good care of you. Good night.